Hello and welcome to the Terraforming Guide. In this video, I'll be showing you how to terraform a desert beginner level. Now let's get right into it, shall we? Now, since this guide is for beginners, it's all about just making the desert look and feel a bit better than it already looks. If you're looking for a more advanced guide, I'd suggest checking out my advanced or professional terraforming videos. However, as with every Minecraft build, you first need to choose your block palette. Maybe just try scrolling through the creative mode inventory and find the blocks you need. Just look for similar color. Don't really focus on what the block is. The major blocks that I'll be using today are stripped birch planks, sandstone, ochre froglight, gravel, diorite, jungle log, cactus, dead bush, acacia sapling, path block, moss, stone, and grass block. You know, I like comparing building to painting a lot of the times because it's actually quite comparable in many ways. But for one, just think of the blocks you'll be using as the colors you need to paint a picture. And in this case, the sand in the desert is just our canvas. First, grab some sandstone and just sprinkle it all throughout your desert. Why, you might ask? Well, although it's barely noticeable, it just makes looking at your desert much more exciting. Think of it as little pockets of chocolate chips in a chocolate cake. You don't really see it, but it makes everything just so much better. Let me just show you what I mean.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight.
As you can see here, the sandstone just makes it a bit more exciting to look at least. I mean, it doesn't really add too much, I know, but the overall effect just improves ever so slightly. And now that we're done with the sandstone, we're actually gonna do something pretty crazy. Let's take some birch blocks, and by that I mean the stripped birch wood and the birch planks. And we're actually gonna do a couple small patches like this. Just make them look kind of random, if that makes any sense. You can just go and like make some random shapes. It just has to feel natural in a way. We're adding the birch to add some texture, keep that in mind. So kind of mix it up, try mixing it up. If you're having trouble with the shape, maybe try to do like a little square and just add little arms to it and just do whatever feels right for you essentially. But by adding those arms, you're just making it look like a random little patch, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And yeah, just mix up using the birch logs and the birch planks. You can also do like little lines and go from there, or like just start with a triangle, just everything, or just like make a plus sign. And keep in mind where you want to have a pathway later, because that's kind of our, well, center in a way. Try to group those little patches of birch wood and birch planks kind of near where the path will be, or where you want your path to be, and place them more sparsely all around the rest of your desert.
We're soaring on top of the world.
Whew. All right, we did it. But remember, it's all about what feels right for you. Anyway, let's grab some dead bushes and just place them like right around where your birch patches are. Just like 2 or 3 or 4. And now that you're done with that, just grab some endstone, because it has a much cooler color than the birch. And we're gonna just do little patches, just like with the birch planks and the birch wood. Place them kind of randomly, but use them rather sparsely. We just want them to be like little accent colors in our desert, not more. Right, and now we're gonna actually build a little road or a pathway, whatever you want. For that, we will grab gravel and diorite. Why, you might ask? Well, I just felt like it, honestly. Anyway, just walk in kind of a snake-like path and just fill some gravel in along where you're walking, essentially. Just try to, well, do what feels like. I know I'm saying that quite often, but it's all about randomness, honestly. Just make it look like a funny little snake, that's all. And now that you're done with that, just go back and add a couple gravel blocks just to widen the path. Just like maybe 3 blocks. And now just add in some diorite, like right at the edges of the path. Just randomly, honestly. I mean, sometimes you can just try to kind of connect them in like maybe diagonal lines or something. But I wanted to use the diorite because it gives a nice accent color to the gray while also kind of being gray. But yeah, you have to see for yourself. Just don't make it look too random though, because if it looks too random, it doesn't look natural anymore. I know it's really weird, but yeah, adding those little kind of bridge pieces between the edge pieces of the diorite kind of balances the randomness out. That concludes everything for the path, at least. I mean, as you can see, it's kind of weird the way it curves. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, let's first focus on some vegetation, because we already added the dead shrubs, and now let's just add some cactus. Like with everything else, kind of do more around where the path is and vary in sizes. I mean, you can go everything like 1, 2, 3 cacti on top, maybe even 4 if you're wild. If you don't want the cactus to grow further than, well, than expected, just add a bit of string on top, because that stops the cactus from growing, so it keeps on being the same size. If that makes sense. And now that we've done some vegetation for the desert, let's get to what I just said about the reasoning for why the path curves. Obviously, a build makes more sense if there's kind of lore to it. I know a lot of YouTubers say that. Lore just means that you have to give a reason for why your build looks the way it does. And we're just gonna do these little rocks here. I know, be brave. They kind of work similarly to how the birch patches worked. So just kind of do a plus sign or a square or whatever and just add some blocks on top. Look at what looks right for you. They don't have to be big, but yeah, just add them in a way that makes the road curve make sense. As we're done with that, I'm gonna need you to be very brave. We're gonna actually do some custom trees. And don't be scared. It's not as hard as it seems. At least like for those dead trees that we want in the desert. You can just grab an acacia sapling, some dirt and some bone meal and place the dirt wherever you want your tree to be. Grab the acacia sapling, bone meal it. And the fun thing about acacia is that it makes those funny shapes, I guess. So just remove the leaves and replace the acacia wood with jungle wood. Why jungle wood? Well, for me personally, I like the green hue on it, which well makes for a pretty convincing dead tree. And just add maybe some branches if you feel brave enough. Then just add a couple blocks right around the tree trunk into the ground for some nice roots. Of course, you can also just go winged mode and try a general shape. I mean, the fun thing with dead trees is that they're pretty simple. And now to add kind of our final touches, we're gonna build an oasis. And for that, we'll need moss, grass, path, and stone, actually. And now we're just gonna select our little spot for the oasis. I have a nice little patch here, and just add stone where you want your water to be later, because we don't like sand underneath the water, it doesn't look right. And now we obviously want to make the water make sense, and for that we'll be using kind of a gradient, which is actually perfect with the desert here because the grass looks a bit more dry and we have this nice transition from the nice lush moss to the dry pathway. And now, centered around where the water will be, add some moss blocks. And continue with some grass blocks around the moss blocks. And to kind of finish off that oasis base, we'll be using pathway. Now remember, when you're going uphill with the pathways, they're not an entire block high, so add something underneath so you don't have this weird gap where the sand shines through. And to finish off the oasis, add some vegetation like sea pickles, drip leaves, maybe like lily pads, acacia trees, melons, just some grass maybe. And to light up the whole place, add a lighting block below the moss carpet. That way it's hidden and it'll make for a nice shine in the oasis. It looks cool, doesn't it? Now you could consider the desert kind of finished, but I've just seen this giant crater. So let's just add some, well, lore to that. maybe just imagine some meteorite or something just kind of crashed into there, and therefore I'm just going to add some campfires, some lava, and some blackstone and tuff to kind of imitate whatever happened there. It should look something like this, just some, yeah, blackstone lava, just looking kind of fiery and dark and ashy. That's what I was aiming for. But really, just try to be creative with your world. Just build whatever you like to, honestly. Now, I've already talked about lore, so let's just keep on doing that and maybe add a little bandit camp right here. There we go. Nice and simple. And that concludes everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support me, I would very much appreciate if you'd subscribe, comment, and of course like. And hopefully I'll see you next time.